Welcome, everyone, to the next episode of the Outsider Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Mackey, with my co-host, as always, Smoking Jay Cutler. He puts his head down and hits the two-gap. We were just talking about football. That's why that came into play. And today, our guest is Baker Leavitt.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for having me.
I never knew Baker's last name.
Well, now you do.
I don't need one. I'm like Madonna. I don't need a last name. I don't need one. No one's ever been like, Baker who? I would like to meet Baker Mayfield and be like, hey, I was Baker first.
Yeah, I'm first, bud.
I was the first Baker.
I bet he's a cool guy to drink some beers with.
Baker Mayfield?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't know, man.
Really?
I don't know.
I've partied with him.
How'd it go?
Well.
See? All right.
He's a little flashy.
What have you been up to, bud?
This is the most I've worked in 20 years.
You and me both.
Really?
This is the most. This is the political consulting stuff and like DC with the election and everything.
Yeah.
Like it's
Is Trump winning? Can we just get this out of the way?
absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
So if you look
I'm
at
getting a little worried.
so when you look at the polling,
Did you see my shirt?
Daddy's home.
Man, why don't you just buy two of all of these? Because I want them.
I know.
So if you look at the polling, like
I
right
bought
now,
two sweatshirts, but one disappears somehow. I think Samantha took it somehow.
the media apparatus is standing her up and like,
Yeah.
but like she got attacked. Her campaign got attacked yesterday for not doing interviews. Jim Acosta, who we all know is a complete pain in the ass, would literally harass Trump at every press conference he ever did. Like he just went after one of her surrogates today. He's like, would it kill you guys to do a press conference? And the guy starts giving this long-winded answer. He's like, I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
But like, because what happens is the media, they will run cover for the Dem nominee. And in return for that, they get favorable exposure, interviews, they get access and all that stuff. They're not getting any of that now. So now the media, which is arguably, it's the American public this is the lowest trust they've ever had in the media ever.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Absolutely earned, not given. And it's getting worse now. Now they're just looking like idiots, because they can't get interviews. They're running cover for like all the hits and all the crap they've talked about Trump over the past 8 years. Like we've heard it all.
Yeah,
we get it.
There's nothing new.
You don't have any new material, guys. So,
Trump's actually doing a good job of being quiet for the most part.
Chris LaCivita, who's running his campaign, is doing a fantastic job. I think what it boils down to is that Trump is older now.
Yep.
And he seems more kind of like loving grandfathery, which I like that. Like, and a lot of the stuff he's doing, like, you don't hear him talking about the election being stolen as much anymore. It's like whether that was stolen or not, you lost.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Period. There's a winner and there's a loser.
4 years down the road.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Those two things come hand in hand, but I think it's more wisdom than age.
Yeah, so I think that's like
I think you also can't say anything about him anymore. Like he's been through the ring, he's been through the fire. Like what else can you say about him?
Donald Trump has the dumbest enemies in the history of the world. I mean, if you look at like all the people that went after him, the lawfare against him, which I think is one of the more despicable things that's happened in my lifetime politically. I think it's worse than the Russiagate stuff and the FBI stuff with Andrew McCabe and Lisa Baker. Fannie Willis was banging the prosecutor she appointed. That's a no-no. So then that's whatever. The case, the Mar-a-Lago raid, that got thrown out, dismissed by Judge Eileen Cannon down in Florida. Yep. And then like with all the Supreme Court stuff with like the Fisher case and which ties into January 6th, which is really something that I thought might stick, but that's going to get thrown out because a lot of the stuff that they charged those people with was statute 1512C2, which is basically you're taking something involved in an election like a ballot and destroying it. Those people didn't do that. It was basically a riot. Yeah. And the Supreme Court threw that out. So now like all that stuff's out the window. And then if you look at just everything they throw at him, man, nothing sticks, dude. Mm-hmm. Nothing sticks. And like they get their talking points, they get their shots, he gets bloodied a little bit, but then it's just kind of like, I mean, they couldn't even kill him. They tried to. It's like, come on, guys. Like, So,
Shots fired.
but back to your question about Trump winning or not. So if you look at the polls and you see these polls and they're like, oh, Kamala's winning.
Yeah.
What they're trying to do is disenfranchise the voter. Like they're trying to get Republican voters, Trump supporters, to be like, oh shit, man, we're going to lose. And that kind of gets people to stay home.
Yeah.
What you have to look at is the poll. So polls are weighted, R+1, R+6, D+6. They had a poll that I just read this morning that they've run 2 days in a row, or 2 weeks in a row, and it's a D+10 poll. And Kamala's up 2%, which means it's a heavily Democrat skewed poll,
Sure.
and she's only up by 2 points.
Well, yeah, that's what who the hell are they polling?
Dude, I know one Kamala supporter, and that's my cousin Lizzie. And I swear to God, like I was just texting with her. She's my favorite cousin. We're very, very close. She's, of all the members of my family, like we are not the academics. We're the marketing people. Everybody else in our family is academics, MDs, attorneys, and all that stuff. And Lizzie and I are just kind of the retards over here in La La Land, doing better than the other people. And these fucking conversations I have with her, man, it's just like, I'm going to do a video one day and just read our conversations.
Yeah.
And that's what we're up against. I call them awfuls, affluent white female urban liberals. And
Whoa, did you come up with this?
no,
Who did?
somebody on Twitter.
Oh.
But for the sake of the podcast, yeah, it was me.
Run that back one more time.
Awfuls, affluent white female urban liberals.
You got that, Ben? All right.
And
That is a good one.
She's like-
I'm stealing that, baby.
she's like, I just
100%.
like her. And I was
you
like,
just like her?
that's fine. But what do you like about
Yeah,
her?
what do you like about her?
This is like the number 3 at Cargo, which is a global advertising. Cargo is absolutely massive.
Yeah.
Lizzie is a very, very serious, very successful individual. And I adore Lizzie, but like the stuff, it's just like, I
Lizzie,
just
we
want
need to
to
have a
shake
talk.
the shit out of her.
Yeah.
Her husband, his father, Miami Dolphin Hall of Famer, played safety in the league back when they made no money. Love of the game.
Yeah.
Hard dude. It's like, and her,
What is
like,
his stance?
he doesn't really have a stance right now. He's
Okay.
kind of going through some, he
gotcha.
does, you know what I mean?
Where
Like
do they live?
They moved from New York because they couldn't afford it. And it was crazy. They moved to Miami.
Shocker.
And I was like, she's like, we're moving to Florida. And I was like, you're not voting down here. And her husband's family's from Miami. Their childcare. They had black car service in New York where they, this is for kindergarten. $65,000 a year. Kindergarten.
To send their kid to kindergarten?
They pick him up in the morning, goes to school half day, get out at 1 o'clock, black car picks him up, brings him home.
They paid $65,000 for a... Jeez.
Maybe we're in the wrong biz.
We need to start a school.
Kind of
But I need to publish some of these conversations or just read them out to people just because like this is what we're up against. It's like I started doing political consulting in February this year. And we went to DC and we had meetings with, these organizations and senators and congressmen. And, my question was like, tell me one thing that you're excited about this election.
Yeah.
Just one thing that you guys are doing that's new and cool and exciting. And they all just said, we don't have anything. And I was like, so if you take my experience in consumer packaged goods with, Black Rifle and Kill Cliff, stuff like that, selling someone something that's not like a life necessity versus getting them to vote should be pretty easy. And the things that the Republican Party is not doing is the lowest hanging fruit, which is basically what we're working on, is getting apolitical influencers to talk about issues that concern them. And we're not endorsing a candidate, we're not endorsing a party, but if we focus on conservative apolitical influencers, we know that the majority of their audience is going to vote Republican.
Yeah.
So we don't tell them what to say. We're not telling them what to do. We're not telling them how to say it. They just, what's important to you? So like Brooke Ents, which is like, the food pipeline from the field to the table. How does that work and all that stuff? And what's happening like with the Idaho, cutting off the water in Idaho to the farmers and stuff and things like that. And then you've got guys that are talking about, firearms issues, 2A related stuff, LEO, first responders, the veteran community. That's another thing we're targeting. The thing that I'm going after the most is the hunting community. So if you look at the numbers of licensed hunters and gun owners, and I'm talking resident 18 over in the state of Pennsylvania, 515,000 of them did not vote in the last election.
Really?
Ohio, 620,000. Didn't vote.
Wow.
Wisconsin, 338,000. Michigan, 370,000.
No shit.
Tennessee is, I think, 220,000. Virginia, which is in play, is 187,000. Wow. So the numbers are astonishing.
Yeah.
So you were in the military. How easy it was for you to vote when you were in the military? It's pretty darn easy.
Yeah, they set everything up for us. Whether it be a
Came to you?
Yeah.
So 75% of active duty service members vote in elections. When you guys get out, that number drops to 33%.
Losers.
You know why?
I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
Fuck the government. Like, I've done my service.
Yeah.
I did my job. And I think, with the Afghanistan withdrawal, that number has fallen even lower, and people are just disgusted. They don't trust the government.
There's absolutely, when you do a career in the military, and you don't even have to do a career. You can do, an enlistment or, 4 years, 8 years or whatever. When you get out, I mean, you've already seen underneath the skirt of this.
You had to stick your face under that thing, and there was a dick there.
Yeah, and it stinks.
Yeah.
And so when you get out, you just want as much distance from you and the government as you possibly can. A lot of guys do. That's why you see a lot of, especially special forces guys, moving to rural towns, moving up in the mountains, and they just want left alone, and they want nothing to do with the government.
That's why all the SMU guys live in Whitefish, Montana. That's the safest place in the country. I don't think you can move to Whitefish if you weren't in SMU, you have to get a waiver signed. Like, oh, you're a SEAL? Well, we need to check this guy out. Like, like that place that's where Andy lives. You've been up there.
Yep.
But yeah, like the veteran issues and stuff are amazing. Working on that. And yeah, I think that Trump, what they're doing right now, like we're talking about the media and like how no one trusts the media. Like if you look at the spaces that Trump did with Elon Musk the other night, it's over within 24 hours.
I haven't watched it or listened to it.
It's just two people having a conversation.
Yes, chatting.
First hour and 15 minutes, Trump did all the talking. And then as he kind of calmed down, Elon was doing a lot of talking too. It's really, really good. They said a bunch of really good stuff. And like the thing that's crazy is that was the 18 to 34 demographic, which is the demographic that all political parties are trying to reach. Those are the young kids, young people that don't vote as much. And that's why the media is having an absolute meltdown. Like one of the people from the EU sent a letter saying that it should be removed from the internet and stuff, and it's just like, who are you? I'm sorry, we don't even know where Belgium is. You shut up.
Yeah.
How's that working out for Elon Musk? Because I see his target consumer leaning more to the left side.
It's the number one. The Model Y is the number one selling car in the world.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
I bought one Saturday.
No shit.
It took me 5 minutes to buy a car online.
Yeah.
It's like buying a T-shirt.
To Sam's point, I would assume that people in the U.S. that have Teslas, I would assume 75% of them are voting Democratic.
No,
not
really? At all. No. It's the number one selling car in the world.
I had the exact same assumption.
Yeah. So it's funny, my buddy Jeremy Graves, one of my best friends, from college roommate, he is financially conservative, socially liberal. He lives in Charleston, South Carolina, and he asked me that yesterday. He's like, the exact same thing you just said. And I was like, dude, it's the number one selling car in the world. Yeah. He was like, your reading comprehension sucks. And I was like, I just answered your question. Like, no, I don't think that their stock is up a good bit. Their stock, I bought a bunch of it when it was down in 106, 118. I bought it at 138. I bought it at 144. I bought it at 176 and 178, and it's at it's over 2 now. So his stock is trending up. I think the thought process, electric vehicles and stuff. I bought it from Melissa, my wife. I saw an ad on Twitter and I was like, this is interesting. And I went on the website, and I'm not kidding you. 5 minutes later, I said, Melissa, I think I just bought you a car. I'm not sure though.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, psychologically, we've been married for 5 years.
Yeah, but now it's official.
It is official, and it is something that we both wanted. And I've been married before, and I was like, hey, I don't want a ceremony. I don't want a big deal.
Sure.
I just want us to be at the beach. Yep. So we got married at sunrise on August the 1st at Neptune Beach, and it was just me, Melissa, and the minister. And it was awesome. And then her dad, I was like, he's not allowed on the sand. She's like, why? And I was like, well, if he falls over, it's a distraction. Like, he has to stand on the boardwalk. So her father stood on the boardwalk. Troy, her son, was there. And then we had the dog.
Awesome.
It was cool. And then we went up to Maine for a couple of days.
Whereabouts?
We went to Kennebunkport we were supposed to be there for 2 days, but I was there for about 6 hours, and I was like, this is what a male Kamala voter looks like. I'm literally surrounded by them. So we had two rooms, 2 nights at the Colony Hotel, which is right on the water, right down from the Bush compound, which is amazing. And it's like $702 a night. It's expensive. And I was like, we're leaving. So we stayed one night, got out the next morning, and got the hell out of there. Went to Portland, Maine for a night, which was cool. And then we went to Bar Harbor for 3 days.
Nice.
Went to Acadia National Park.
I love Maine.
I don't think I'll ever go back to Maine.
I've driven through and hunted up there.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Super great experience.
Once. I'm never going back.
So Acadia National Park, like when I was a kid, and I'm sure same with you guys, I cared about sports, muscles, and girls.
Yep.
That was it. Nothing else mattered.
Maybe not in that order, but I'm right there.
No, girls first.
Yeah.
And then muscles, and then muscles helped you get girls. Plates equal dates, and then muscles made you better at sports. And I didn't see anybody up there. Like, the people walking around Eastern National Parks are different than the people that walk around parks in the West. Like, I just saw all these kids, and I was just like, what is wrong? Like, what are you guys doing? Like, just walking like Crocs and like pajama bottoms and just vitamin D deficient, pasty white.
Oh,
pajamas in the fucking airport.
My kids wear pajamas to school.
What?
Like, I'm telling you, like, all these kids, they dress like they're homeless and go to school.
Yeah, like they live under an overpass.
Yeah, they literally go to school dressed homeless. Like, that's the look. And they all wear slides and socks.
Really?
No shoes. They don't even own shoes. Just slides.
It's insane to me.
And they go to school looking homeless. I ask them all the time, like, I think, did you wear that to bed? No, these are my clothes.
These are my school pajamas.
Yeah.
School pajamas.
I mean, I remember like going to school, like, you wanted to look nice.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, it was important to you. Mm-hmm. Like, they just literally roll out of bed, take their pajamas on, take the pajamas off, put pajamas back on, and go to school.
Yeah. So we hiked around for a couple days, hung out in Bar Harbor, ate a bunch of lobster rolls, and then came home. I love lobster rolls. Then we came home, that was our last trip to Maine.
I used to go up to Caribou, Maine to go bear hunting in the spring. I think I've been about 3 or 4 times, and I loved it. But it's way out in the middle of nowhere and very, very rural. So you have no interaction with local populace.
Kennebunkport, and like, it's just a bunch of awfuls, you know, and they're male significant others, and like all these guys, like they're just, there's no life in their faces. Like, they're just lifeless human beings. Like, they're all stressed. Like, it's just like, dude, like, do you want like a hug or something, or like, you know, how about this? Let's do a high five. Yeah. A hard fucking high five. Let's get some of that testosterone flowing. You know what I mean? Like, let's chest bump each other. Like, are you okay? But yeah, it was fun. But anyway, yeah, married now officially. Life's good. No complaints.
Good.
You know.
Now, where in Georgia did you grow up?
I grew up in Savannah, Georgia.
Okay. What was the political climate like, you know, growing up in Savannah, Georgia?
So
into comparison compared to now? The
first election, like, I ever I've always liked politics, because like, for me, everything in life is binary. It's you're right or you're wrong, and you win or you lose. Like, there's really it's the best thing in the world or it's the fucking worst thing. Like, there's no in between.
Yeah.
It's just the way my brain works. So the first election I remember Jimmy Carter, and he's a Georgia boy, Plains, Georgia, and like the Iran hostage situation, and I remember Reagan winning and everything being cool and good, and then, you know, I remember Ross Perot.
Yeah. And
if it weren't for Ross Perot, George Bush Sr. we never would have had Bill Clinton. And I do think that Bill Clinton was a pretty good president. But the political climate, like, the climate for everything, man, was different before social media. And then once the implementation of social media came about, everything changed. life changed. Like,
do you think that's social media is whenever we became so right and left, Democrat, Republican? Because I feel like we used to just vote on the human, on the person for the most part. I mean, they obviously had Republican tendencies and Democratic tendencies, but I feel like we were voting like on that man, that human being.
Yeah, on the issues.
Yes.
So what you
and now it's just like blank slate. I'm a Democrat. I'm voting.
It's tribal.
Yeah, very.
So I'm not bagging on women. I think that women are awesome, and I'm a huge fan. But if you look back at things like the transition away from the nuclear family, okay, and the transition towards like empowering women to be, corporate execs and all this stuff, and like so my father died when I was 5 years old. My brother was 8 weeks old. 1981, died at our parents' at our beach house at my parents' anniversary party.
Jeez.
And my mother was in grad school at the time. Huh?
Heart attack?
Massive heart attack. Yeah. He's an anesthesiologist, had the best medical treatment you could imagine. If you're going to have a heart attack, that's where you want to do it, surrounded by those people. And he was dead by the time they got to the end of the driveway. My mother was a school teacher, but more importantly, she was a mother, first and foremost.
Yeah.
And I think that people have issues and initiatives that they push ahead of things. And I think that women tend to make decisions based on trends versus policy. So like you see all these women that are like driven and pushed into being, you can do anything, girl power. And they get into like these corporate roles and stuff. And it's like, I think the most noble job on the planet is being a mother. I don't think there's anything more impressive. Raising kids.
It's hard.
It's very hard. Yeah. And like, I think that women are more suited for that job. And I think that you have things like that, issues like that. I think that, there's a lot of stuff regarding race. And I think there are powers that want this country divided. So if you look at race relations in 2012, dude, that's really like the best they've ever been in this country, believe it or not. And then I don't know what happened, but now everything is based on sex, your genitalia, your race, and what you want to do with your genitalia.
Yeah.
And I think it's super unfortunate. I think that there are people that make a tremendous amount of money in DC based on race relations, sex, the whole transgender thing. And one thing I noticed—
how do they make money off of that?
You have no idea.
I know.
How much money flows through Washington, D.C. I've gotten just a glimpse of it.
Sure.
You were in the NFL. You've seen big contracts. You know about that. Dude, that ain't shit.
Yeah. Pale in comparison to what's wrong.
Let me put it in perspective. The Republican Party, I get chills telling this, the Republican Party spent $750 million in the last 3 Georgia Senate races and lost all 3.
Spend it on what?
It's a fantastic question. So when you look at operatives in the Democratic Party and the DC operatives, regardless of party affiliation, these people make insane amounts of money when money is spent on campaigns and ads. And they're also all very, very old. A lot of them are old. And they buy into traditional media spend. So some of the stuff that we're working on, so like we had a video that we had one of the influencers we work with put out the night that Trump got shot. 101 million views. It was a reel. It was seen by 36,795,000 different accounts. Now, what is that exposure worth in traditional media buys? $1.6 million. Okay? But the political operatives in the DC body politic, like they don't like doing those things because they can't monetize it. So all this money gets spent on TV. When's the last time you guys saw a TV commercial?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally
Super Bowl?
I walk away.
Yeah. Probably Super Bowl at your house.
You get on your phone.
Yeah.
The moment the commercial comes on. Yeah. So the amount of money that flows through DC, and I personally believe that there's more money to be made when your party loses than when your party wins. So take Ron DeSantis, for example.
Okay.
My governor in the state of Florida where I live, he's awesome.
Yeah. Big fan.
Why in God's name would he have tried to run against Donald Trump?
It makes zero sense.
It makes plenty of sense if you are one of his campaign managers.
Sure.
Because if he doesn't run, you don't make money.
Yeah. Okay.
So you got to run. So what ultimately happened there? Ultimately, they damaged him to where I will vote for him in the next election
100%
without question.
Yeah.
But will he get to run and not get attacked by Trump? Because Trump...
he should have just said, hey, I'm supporting Trump. Go do these next 4 years. You support me after this. Let's do this.
What can I do to help you win?
Exactly.
Yeah, because when his
it was the dumbest thing in the world to go against Trump.
Yeah, it's incredible, and especially to attack Trump using Trump's tactics.
So stupid.
So if you look at Ron DeSantis now, dude, the guy's on fire.
Yeah,
he's not trying to talk like Trump. Oh. He's not trying to do the hand stuff. He's being himself. Yeah. He's Harvard magna cum laude. He was a attorney attached to, I think, SEAL Team 5 or SEAL Team 7.
I think.
Yeah, maybe? SEAL Team 3, one of the West Coast teams. Yeah. Played baseball at Yale. He's a dude.
Oh, I think he's phenomenal.
His resume, you can't touch it. It's amazing.
I just hated that he was going to go against Trump. Don't do this.
Yeah, and then you have Nikki Haley, who ran against Trump. Nikki Haley was funded by Reid Hoffman. Reid Hoffman is the founder of LinkedIn, and he's one of the original PayPal guys, multi-billionaire, and huge. Reid Hoffman's the guy that funded E. Jean Carroll's lawsuit, the rape lawsuit against Trump, which is complete garbage. And then he also funded the Dominion voting machine lawsuit against Fox News.
Idiots. They're just wasting money.
So here's what I think happens. So I think in this country, the majority of people that are billionaires
are just dumb.
Are allowed to become billionaires.
Yeah. Okay.
They're allowed. You don't just become a billionaire because you got to think, like, especially in the tech space, the steps to get to there. Mm-hmm. You have to do a lot of work with the government. You got to work with all these different things have to fall, and there's a lot of timing and luck involved. And you have to be certain doors have to be opened for you. And I think what happens is these guys are cruising along with their life, and all of a sudden the phone rings one day. It's like, hey, bro, you're up. We need you to do something. And they have to go and fund these things or do these crazy things. That's my opinion of how that system works. Huh. It's kind of crazy. But like if you look at like the media, everything is controlled by something that we're not familiar with. I personally believe that China and Russia and other adversarial nations funnel tons and tons and tons of money into our election process.
Would not shock me.
China wants Kamala to win. China does not want Donald Trump in office.
Hell no. Of course not.
I also am of the school of thought that I do think that Putin wants Trump in office over Kamala.
I would think that's
because ultimately,
why is that?
I think so. Russia landmass is one of the biggest countries in the world, if not the biggest. Mm-hmm. Is it the biggest?
Yeah, I think it's the biggest.
I think it's the biggest.
Yeah.
It's not a land grab, is it? I don't think he just basically wants a warm water port.
Yeah.
Because all he has is cold water ports. He wants a warm water port for shipping and stuff like that. He doesn't want to occupy. I mean, why would he want more? You know what I mean?
He doesn't need it.
He doesn't need it.
No.
And I think there's a bunch of stuff going around. Like there was, I think ultimately he wants peace. I do. I believe that. But he does want a warm water port. And I'm not an expert in geopolitics by any stretch of the imagination. That's just, me reading the tea leaves. I think that Iran wants Kamala in power. I think India is indifferent. North Korea, obviously, I think would want Kamala. Taiwan definitely wants Trump in power. So I think how much skin is it off China's back to funnel $1 billion, $2 billion into our election? It's nothing. They don't even. That's a rounding error for them.
Exactly.
So it's an interesting time, and I think there's a lot of adversarial nations that are meddling in our democracy, and I do think that if Kamala and Waltz get in office, I think that we are in trouble.
It's going to be bad.
So I saw the first Democratic convention when Kamala introduced Waltz, and then I haven't watched much TV or news since.
Not convention, they're just a rally.
Yeah, rally, yep. And then I see all these things. I just catch snippets of these things on social media, especially from the veteran community, that, Waltz is a liar. He never carried a gun. Could you explain a little, or could you guys explain a little of that to me? I haven't listened to or watched.
So anything. He was in the air. He was a high school teacher. Okay.
Yeah.
And he was in the National Guard. And he's a state champion high school football coach. He was never a state champion. He was never a head coach. He was a defensive coordinator. So that's one lie. And
did they win state?
he was a defensive, but he referred to himself as a state champion head coach. Stupid lie. That doesn't benefit anybody.
No.
And then, so he signs up for the Sergeant Major Academy. And so when you sign up for the Sergeant Major Academy, they invest a lot of time and energy and money into you. So you have to commit. It's a 2-year process. You have to commit to 2 years of the academy and then an additional 2 years of service after that. All right. And then they got their warno that they were going to deploy. Like, it's not like you're sitting around all of a sudden you get orders to deploy and then you're like, oh, we're going to war. No, that it's not, well in advance. And he retired, put in his papers after he knew they were going to deploy. So, as I understand it, when you're frocked as a command sergeant major when you start the academy, and then excuse my verbiage on this, it becomes official once you graduate. But at any time you break that contract of service, you are demoted you go from E9 back to E8, okay? So his entire career in politics, when he was a congressman for Wisconsin and governor, he ran on being a command sergeant major. And this is not a gray area. This is black and white. His entire political career, all of his talking points are based on lies, meaningless, pointless lies.
Yeah.
So for me as a person, like, when you lie about something that's insignificant, I can't trust anything you say. No. It's like dudes that this guy was a SEAL sniper. It's like, you're a SEAL. Holy shit, that's super fucking rad. But you didn't go to sniper school. So you just told a pointless lie that doesn't make me think you're any cooler than you are. Tons of guys like that, or, guys in the NFL. Yeah, I was in the NFL. It's like, it's like you went to 2 days of training camp. You got cut. Yeah. You're not getting the pension. You never played in a preseason game. So much less a real game. But so that's the thing there. Once the Democratic convention occurs, which is next week,
Chicago,
you are going to see some shit on Tampon Tim comes to the surface that's going to blow your socks off.
Really?
Oh yeah. So Trump's not.
Why did she pick him?
So Shapiro, who is the governor of Pennsylvania, I was scared shitless of him.
Okay.
Terrified.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, dude. If she picks him, and that was the safe bet.
Yeah.
The problem is she has to kowtow. The Democratic Party has a problem right now, and that is the Muslims and the Jews. So Kamala's husband's Jewish. Okay. Shapiro in Pennsylvania is Jewish. Also former member of the IDF. So if she
What's the IDF?
Israeli Defense Force.
Okay. So
everyone that is, if you're an Israeli citizen, you have to serve 2 years.
Yeah.
So that was a huge, huge problem, because if she had done that, the Michigan, which is a battleground state, huge Muslim population, they would have sat the election out. So she's losing Michigan. Then they would have had to have relied strictly on the state of Pennsylvania. So they and as I understand it, Shapiro was the one that backed out. So there's no Democrat that has a legitimate aspirations of running for president ever that's touching her ticket. Gavin Newsom, nowhere to be seen. Gretchen Whitmer, governor of Michigan, who, if Kamala were not black, it would have been Gretchen Whitmer.
Is she Indian?
Yeah, she's Indian. Okay. She's Indian, half Jamaican, grew up in Canada. So Gretchen Whitmer, governor of Michigan, not touching that. Joel Shapiro, his name's Josh Shapiro, Jay Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania. She did not pick him. He backed out.
He didn't want it.
Now, here's another thing to keep in mind. So, like that ticket is a disaster. If they don't win, everyone associated with that, their political career is over. So, Shapiro removed himself from consideration. So that was the last option, was Waltz. Mm-hmm. Or that Bashir kid the Bashir guy who's governor of Kentucky, and he's just a dipshit. Mm-hmm. So that's what happened there. That's why they picked him. Now he's a radical. Like, he started He's been to China 35 times, doesn't own a stock, doesn't own a bond. All he has is 3 government pension funds.
He's been to China 35 times?
35 times.
Why?
Who knows? Married in Tiananmen Square.
I've seen his wife speak too. She's
so when Minneapolis was burning, she's like, "Yeah, I left the windows open so I could smell the tires."
Smell it.
What?
Yeah.
She's
That's a weird statement. That's a statement of someone that's never smelled a burning tire, I believe.
Yeah, burning tires are bad.
Yeah.
When tires are burning, things are bad. But what's interesting is, keep in mind, the vice president is basically a toothless job. The vice president, the VP position, like historically, it doesn't swing states to win elections. It really doesn't. Like if you go back and look at all the VPs, the goal of your VP choice is do no harm. Look at every Republican VP candidate, just some bland ass dude.
Just stay out of the way.
Yeah.
Be quiet.
Yeah, like just bland guy. Like Mike Pence, probably hadn't had an erection in 40 years. Like just a bland human being. Where they screwed up is, so Kamala is up a month ago, was the lowest polling VP candidate in the history of VP polls. And now all of a sudden you're going to tell me that in 3 weeks she went from
it doesn't make any sense.
It's all bullshit.
It has to be smoke and mirrors.
It's all bullshit. So that's why Trump, they're not going on the attack right now. They're
There's no
letting
reason.
her. They're just letting her have her little glow up,
Yeah.
her little honeymoon phase.
I mean, she's got to be terrified of going up and talking with Trump.
That woman cannot speak.
No,
She
can't put a
cannot
sentence together.
form a coherent, intelligent sentence.
The laughing.
That's a social default mechanism. That's a social anxiety. That's a default mechanism.
It's very unbecoming.
It's designed to disarm.
It does the
It
opposite.
just screams lack of confidence.
Yeah.
I don't believe in you. Like if your default is laughing, it reminds me of kids getting in trouble and they don't know how to absorb the situation that's going on.
A better example is people that laugh when they're in pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hurt. You know how it is. You get banged up. I'm sure you've been like, oh my God, that hurt. It's a default mechanism. It's a distraction. I'm in pain. I need to go somewhere else. I think it's the same thing.
I mean, debating Trump is going to be, she's going to say the same 5 sentences for 2 hours.
Here's what scares me about the debate. So the debate, Trump said he'll do September 4th, 10th, and the 18th or 20th or something like that. Fox, ABC, and NBC, or whatever one of those other organizations. And she declined the Fox. She's only going to do the ABC one. So if you look at the debate with Biden, and you had Dana Bash hosting it and Jake Tapper.
Yep.
I think they did a phenomenal
They did a good job. They did a really good job.
by design, man.
Okay.
It's all bullshit.
Okay.
That's the earliest presidential debate we've ever had in this country. We've never had a debate in June. Think about that debate. Joe Biden has never looked physically worse in 4 years.
No.
They didn't put like tanning lotion, self-tanner. They didn't do it, dude.
They threw him out there like
they're like,
wolves.
hey, give him the other injection.
Yeah.
Don't give him
Don't give him the good
Don't
stuff.
give him amphetamine salts. Don't give him the Adderall. Give him the others. Give him the ketamine. Like, I mean, just that was all done by design. That was designed to push him out. So that's what we're up against as a conservative Republican. We are up against Obama's media machine. The Clintons control the money. The Obamas control the media. And that's what we're up against.
2 questions. How are we going to make this, or what is our tactic to make this vote legitimate without the mail-in ballots?
So a lot of states, so if you look at Trump when he attacked Kemp, which I was furious because Kemp is loved in the state of Georgia. I was absolutely livid. And I was like, if he comes to Florida and talks shit about DeSantis, I'm not voting for him. This is completely uncalled for. Like there's no purpose here. Well, give it 10 days. And what is Kemp now doing? He's purging the voter rolls of illegals, dead citizens, and just cleaning up the voter rolls, getting all that off. I think in the past 2 weeks, the East Coast and Nevada and Arizona have done the same thing. They've pulled hundreds of thousands of voters off the rolls that don't need to be there. Kemp is now completely backing. He's like, I'm all in on Trump. I'm using my money, my political machine in Georgia to help him win the state of Georgia. Because Kemp, this is his last term at governor, he's going to run for John Ossoff's Senate seat. He's not winning that if Trump's attacking him. Because you have Kelly Loeffler, waiting in the background there. Like she's the one that she lost her Senate seat. So back to your question. Virginia, by executive order, Youngkin put an executive order out, only paper ballots. So all these, he basically sent a shot across the bow of all Republican governors with political aspirations above and beyond the governorship.
Better get in line.
Clean up your voter rolls.
Yeah.
And do everything in your power. So like so Kemp is the guy that brought the Dominion voting machines into the state of Georgia. And so he agreed to do the investigation after the last election. 4 days later, the car his daughter's boyfriend was driving in exploded.
Really?
Coincidence? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Deader than shit.
Jeez.
And then what else? Something else. One of the lead investigators on that committed suicide, like 5 days after that. So there's a ton of monkey business. I'm not saying the election was stolen. I'm not going to say that because that doesn't really do any good. No. But I will say this. There was a lot of monkey business going on. And what you had was Dem operatives doing ballot harvesting. So there's no way, it's a statistical anomaly that Joe Biden got 81 million votes and they lost 21 House seats. That doesn't make sense, does it? No. If you're this motivated to vote for your guy, so what happens is when you go out and ballot harvest, and like I don't want to sound racist when I'm saying this, and please don't think that, but like if you look at these major urban areas, you can go to a building, lower income, lower class people tend to live in high rises and stuff, and like these huge buildings and stuff. Whereas your urban voters, you got to go door to door. You can roll up to like a high rise in Philadelphia, and that has 500 units, Section 8 low income houses, and go in and, hey, here's $10. Let me fill you out. So when your ballot comes, we're going to come back and you're going to fill it out and we're going to take it for you. Yeah. So you had this ballot harvesting initiative that, although not illegal, undemocratic.
Yeah.
Not democratic at all.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's what happened. And then there's some weird shit coming out now after Trump went after Kemp regarding the voting machines and tabulations and signatures matching. And like, if you look at Fulton County, so my partner, Jason Wilson, lives in Montgomery County, Georgia. I think the population of 600-700 people. 8% of the votes cast on the machines came back questionable. 8%. I think the average is like 4, 5, 6% or something like that. I mean, there's always going to be maybe the signature didn't match or whatever. And if you look in where Buckhead is in Buckhead, Atlanta, which is in Fulton County, I think Buckhead was like 14%. And then you go to Fulton County and DeKalb, which are the two largest counties in the state of Georgia. 0%. 100% of all ballots cast were good to go. Statistical anomaly.
Yeah, how's that possible?
It doesn't make sense. And there's people that can speak way more intelligently about this than I can. But to answer your question, it has to be too big to rig. So what we're doing at vote4america.org, vote the number 4 america.org. What we're doing is it's a voter registration campaign. And what we're targeting 2A, hunters, first responders, whatnot. Go to the website.
What's the website again?
Vote the number 4 america.org.
Ben, you got that? We throw it up? Cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, so click on the link. If you're not registered, register. And if you are registered, just confirm your registration. All right? So that's the first thing you got to do. Number 1. Number 2, every person listening to this podcast has already talked to 4 people today that didn't vote in the last election.
Easily.
So you got to find one person. So this, you by yourself, that you can slap somebody.
So you can register on here.
Absolutely.
Takes 2 minutes.
It's literally 2 minutes. So you by yourself is a slap. But if you get 4 friends, you can knock the shit out of somebody. You can punch somebody. So that's how you do it. You have to find, like, Clint Trial said it best. Clint, good friend of mine, Clint said, the progressive left, the way they go about their lives disgusts me. And his face just changed, man. He's like, I find it repulsive. I find their behavior repulsive. And the progressive left, like, they can have their rallies and they can destroy cities and burn shit and protest and talk shit on Twitter all day and raise high holy hell and be miserable all they want. All we have to do is show up one fucking day
Just
every
1 day.
4 years and beat their ass at the polls. And I just want to be left alone.
Yeah.
That's it. I just want to be left alone, to live my life and, chase dreams and aspirations and go after goals and stuff.
Lower taxes and let's get our gas not $4.
Yeah,
I'm good to go.
And here's the deal. Like, everyone's like, why is Trump not attacking her right now? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, one, they're waiting to get through the Democratic convention, but every time somebody goes in that damn grocery store, like, grocery prices don't affect me. They have zero impact on my life.
Yeah.
The thing that bothers me is that Melissa and I, for 5 years, every time we go in the grocery store, and Melissa, my wife, I'm a successful guy, but if you were to see my grocery bill, you'd be like, oh, Bicker's a multi-billionaire. Yeah. He is really, really rich. Yeah. My God, he must have trillions of dollars. Dude, it's insane.
Oh,
but
2 bags is like $400 at Whole Foods.
It's insane.
Kate and I
It's like-
talked about this last week.
Like, how do people survive?
Kate and I were literally talking, like, where the fuck is all our money going? We're not doing anything, and like, we're shopping at Aldi, and like,
Aldi's fantastic.
Yeah.
Quit buying vegetables. Your grocery bill will plummet.
I mean, we eat primarily we eat vegetables.
How many acres do you live on, Jay?
I moved. I was on 45.
Go get a garden. Just y'all need to grow a garden. You can start a garden, grow your own vegetables. But the thing that bothers me is, like, every time for 5 years, guess the total. What's the total in the conveyor belt? And we first got together 5 years ago. It was like a big grocery trip. And we're talking meat and vegetables and fruit, and like, Melissa loves berries. Those bastards are real expensive.
Can I take a guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
$280.
No. In the beginning, 5 years ago,
Yeah.
150, 174 for 2 people. Now, $300 something. And so I was talking to my brother the other night. My brother's an MD, and he said he was bitching about it. He's like, man, every time I go to the grocery store, I think about my staff, and like, they have surgery centers and they pay their people well. He's like, but like, I don't understand how they can get by, and it defies my thought process on how lower class people can make ends meet now.
Are they just running up credit card bills? Is that what people do?
Right. This is the highest. This is the most amount of credit card debt ever in the history of this
figured.
country carried right now. So if you look at like economic indicators, the greatest indicator of the overall health of your country is literally go talk to a car salesman. Like, they get it more so than anybody. And there's more auto loan declines than there are acceptances right now.
Really?
All-time high credit card bill. Look at the housing market. I was in real estate for 10 years, man. I have no idea how we come out of that. I don't understand, because the people, what's your interest rate?
6.75.
Yours,
No idea.
you probably when you bought your house years ago, it was probably in the 2s. Like,
Probably.
Yeah, you're not getting rid of that interest, that loan. Like, you're like, it's like, so they don't have to leave their house because their interest rates are so low, but there's never been a time in this country where there was a 6 point or 6 point spread between home ownership.
Yeah.
There's no 3 and 4 interest rates. It's 2.5 up to 6 and change, or 5, close to 6. So that's another massive mess. The commercial real estate market is mega fucked. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're on Twitter, follow Triple Net Investor, and they post every day like all these massive developments and buildings and stuff that are selling for. You can go buy a several hundred thousand square foot office building in San Francisco for $20 a square foot. Like, dude, it's crazy, because now they've got this whole thing where people work from home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No one's going into the office.
Yeah.
We're staring down the barrel of some shit. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. Everyone's like, oh, interest rates, the cut's coming. Though interest rate cuts, like, that's 50 basis points isn't going to solve the problem.
It's not solving the problem.
No.
I mean, people are way in too deep right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, yeah, man, there's a lot at stake this election. Mm-hmm. There's a ton. And if you think you're going to sit this one out, don't. Because if you don't vote, for whatever reason, you're disenfranchised, you think they're going to steal the election, your vote doesn't matter, that's 2 votes for the other guy. Hands down. There's no way around that.
My second question was, how do we get people to vote? But you enter, and I was going to allude into voteforamerica.org, but you already answered that question.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. What are some other tactics to get people to vote?
Just talk to people.
Yeah.
Face to face. Ask questions. Just convince.
Well, I think this site, this Vote for America site, is great because I mean, most people, I think, are probably a little bit intimidated by the whole process.
I would be willing to bet dollars to donuts that there is a massive swath of males in this country that don't know how to vote.
Yeah,
And are too embarrassed and prideful to ask how to vote.
absolutely.
Like, they don't. No one's going to say, "I don't know how to vote." I mean,
I bet that's one of the number one reasons that does not get talked about.
no one says
for
that's
sure.
why they don't vote. The number one thing is that my vote doesn't matter. That's the big thing. But no one's going to be like, "I don't know how." I mean, like, no one's.
No
gonna
one's
say
going to be like, "Oh, I didn't register. I
think-
don't know how.
I
to
think
do it.
that's-
I don't know where to go."
I think that's a vessel to people, really, their lack of confidence because they've never voted before. They don't know how. They
Yeah.
don't even know if they're registered.
Yeah.
They don't want to be the guy, that's 40 that walks in and
First
says,
time, I'd be like, "Hey,
I've never
I-
voted before."
Yeah.
Where do I go?
Yeah.
How do I do this?
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah.
So we had in Florida, we had early voting for Senate and Congress started Saturday. And I just looked it up, early voting locations, drove down to the library, walked in, super nice people. They're like, "Here you go. Show them your driver's license." And they give you a form. You walk over there, you fill it out, and you go run it through the machine. And it's that simple. It literally took driving from our house to the voting location and going home 10 to 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. It's very simple. It doesn't cost anything. And I think some people, one of the lower ones is there's people that don't want to get registered for jury duty, which is the biggest crock of shit. It's like,
Oh, is that what happens?
yeah, people think that they've registered to vote, it puts them on the rolls and they get
I'd
registered.
love to be on
I
the
would
jury
love
of a
to be
big
on the
case. Select
Sign me up.
Dude, I'm tearing this motherfucker apart.
Walk in just guilty. Dude, I got called when I
Go to
lived
jail,
in,
bud.
when I lived in Washington State. I got called to jury duty, and it was a fender bender. Rear end, the guy was claiming whiplash. Like, does anyone have an opinion on chiropractic medicine in the audience? And I was like, and I was, absolutely. So like, well, what are your thoughts? I was like, it's snake oil. Like, I was like, there's no way you're going to tell me that a person has a disc that's bulging and this individual has magic powers with their hand that they can push their back and then it fixes. Like, I don't buy into that. Now, I do think there are plenty of benefits to chiropractic medicine. I absolutely do. It's great PT. But like, and guess who was the first person cut? They're like, get out. So
Go away.
it's your civic duty. Voting is your civic duty. Like, think about the people in Venezuela right now. What would they give to have free and clear elections?
Oh, yeah.
So it's your civic duty. And if you do get signed up for jury duty once every 10 years, so be it. Go have fun with it.
Yeah.
Walk in, just guilty, regardless of what the case is. Just start chanting that. They'll cut you immediately.
There's an old saying that it always resonated with me, maybe just because of my past and everything. But, you could vote your way into socialism, but you got to fight your way out.
Absolutely.
And I don't think people understand the gravity of that until you've been to a country.
They disarmed Venezuela in 2012.
Yeah. Until you've been to a country that is in socialism.
And the U.S.
Communism.
government was like, we will support you and blah, 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 but you have to promise us that you will have free and clear elections. That didn't work out well. We were in the U.K. The first week of June. And I don't know if you guys have seen what's going on in London right now.
No. But I have a friend that lives there, and he wants out real bad.
Dude, it
Out
is.
of London?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
What's happening in London?
So London is 44% white. It's the naturalized British citizens are the minority now. They've had a massive influx of Indians and Arabs, which is, fine, whatever. But they're having, I think, 8 of the townships or boroughs or whatever they call them are now run, or mayors are Muslim. And they're having a bunch of problems with immigrants, rape and murder and stuff. And so the British citizens are basically revolting, and they're throwing people in jail for 12 months. For one guy shouted, "Fuck Allah," and got 12 months in prison.
Jeez.
Dude, it is insane. I cannot believe you guys haven't seen this.
The only thing I know about it, like I mentioned, I have a friend that lives over there, And he's like, hey, I want to come visit. I actually want to move there. I said, well, come on. He's like, well, it's a lot harder than you would think right now. And not only that, my country's just going to shit, and it hurts to watch.
London has fallen, and it ain't never coming back.
Really?
It's done.
No
it is
kidding.
done. Done. And if you look at the things that are happening around the world, the only reason they're not happening in this country is because we have guns.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, look, you can't have guns in London.
No, you can't have a knife.
Stupid
No.
question.
Or
Why can't the
Australia.
king step in and do anything about this?
Oh,
They don't do anything.
fat sausage fingers?
Yeah.
That's there's that.
That's just a title.
Yeah,
They have no power.
So,
Okay.
so Sausage Fingers, Prince King Charles, whatever his name is, he actually went and met with him and said, "We think you're doing a great job fighting this horrific racism," and completely sided with. And then
Yeah, those
they have a new
they're
prime
clowns.
minister. I don't remember his name, but he is an pandering shitbag. But yeah, London's fallen. I will never set foot in that country again as long as I live.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, dude, like they're throwing people in jail for saying things. They arrested a woman today. They said, "What are you doing? Are you praying?" And she goes, "I might be praying in my head, but I'm not doing it vocally." In jail, arrested this morning. I'll send you the link when we're done. Dude, so if you look at the history of London, kings and like how they wanted to control their citizens. So the other reason that the reason that these things aren't happening in our country is because we have a middle class.
Yeah.
And it's like the military. The strength of our military is our NCOs, right? So in London, they have working class, which is heavily dependent on the government. The government provides a tremendous amount of aid for their working class, lodging and jobs and all that stuff. And then they have the wealthy class. There's no middle class over there. So my buddy owns a couple bars and restaurants over there, and he was like, "You have no idea how little money these people make over here." He's like, "It is appalling." So what happens is, if you mess up, the government will cut off, and that's how you control people. So when you're relying on the government, they have control over you. If you do bad, you don't get your allotment of things this month.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, London has fallen, and it ain't never coming back, ever. Ever. It's nasty.
That's unfortunate.
Oh yeah, it's completely insane, dude. It's wild what's happening over there. Really, really wild.
Well, Baker, what else you got?
Working on a project, Smokeless Vets,
Yeah.
which is what my T-shirt says. So that's another project out of DC we're working on, and we're trying to get 500,000 veterans to transition off of cigarettes onto other forms of nicotine. So nicotine is not bad for you. Tobacco is, but nicotine is not. And the things that the VA does for veterans, like they have posters on the wall at the VA.
Yeah.
That say, if you want to quit smoking, text stress to this number.
I've seen all these
Yeah,
fucking
it's-
posters right above the pisser for 20 years.
Yeah, it's completely absurd. It does no
horrible.
good. So they subscribe nicotine gum. They subscribe or
Patch?
prescribe the patch, which does absolutely nothing. Nicotine gum does nothing. Nicotine lozenges do absolutely nothing. The only way to truly quit smoking is transitioning onto other forms of less harmful nicotine. And the current administration is trying to do away with all that stuff and fight it and ban it and all that stuff. And so that's another project we're working on in the VA. We would like to see the VA provide accurate information to veterans. So there's a study in Switzerland, one in Sweden, and one that came out of London. And basically everything I just said came from those studies. Like the one thing that nicotine patches do, which is really interesting, is they're fantastic in fighting COVID because it's a vasodilator.
Really?
Yeah. So think about it.
That's why I never got COVID. Boom.
Think about it for a second. So, COVID's an upper respiratory infection, and nicotine opens up your bronchi, whatever the term is. I can't get it right, but the nicotine patch is tremendous in fighting COVID.
Do cigars help too?
No,
Damn it. I thought we were on a heater.
I thought we were going somewhere here.
So, how was y'all's hunting season?
It was the last one.
You got a bear, right, Jay?
Yeah, mine was stellar.
I think I hunted one time. I hunted opening day in Kentucky. And
You got a turkey.
Oh, yep. I got a turkey. That was the highlight of my hunting season. Was turkey.
You were fascinated that you shot it with a 410.
It blew my mind. His 410. It's
this big.
yeah. It's a
It's
kid's like
my kids.
CDA 410. Like
Single shot, red dot on it. It's
50
literally this big.
You sent me that text. I was like, yeah, of course. You're like, what do you mean? I was like, how hard did you aim? You're like, harder than I've ever aimed in my entire life at anything. That's why I hunt birds with a 410 or a 32 or a 28.
Yeah.
It's because with a 12 gauge, I just blast away.
Boom.
With a 410 or 32 or 28, I actually take time and aim and do everything right. And I will outshoot myself with a 410 over a 12 gauge.
Actually, I don't think I'll ever hunt turkeys without a 410. It's fun. And I mean, you were 50. I mean, I think you're 60 yards. You can
64. The pattern on with a TSS turkey load with a good choke is pretty impressive.
But my farm manager Luke, he put me on this, and I don't think I'll ever hunt a different way. We just have these. It's a decoy, but it's like one you hold.
Yeah, reaping.
Yes.
There's nothing more fun in the world.
It's amazing.
I have a video.
I shot my turkey from here.
No, let me give some context to this. So I'm out turkey hunting all morning, right? Get back. I shot a turkey. Very proud of myself.
You had to go through a mile of creek.
Yeah. So I saw this turkey out in the field, and the only way to get there is to zigzag through creeks and then catch up with them, go get in front of them. So we walked through creeks for a couple miles, and it got it done. It was great. We get back. Jay's we're about to eat breakfast. Jay and Sam made some breakfast, and Luke walks in, Jay's farm manager, and he goes, "You know, Jay, around this time, there's always turkeys up in that field." He goes, "Well, let me finish eating my breakfast." So he finishes eating his breakfast. I think he's wearing like Crocs, shorts, a T-shirt, and a backwards ball cap. Grabs a 410, grabs that decoy, and goes, "I'll be back." Just walks out the front door. I'm like, "Oh, we'll see how this goes." And he comes back, I don't know, 20 minutes later, sweating, with a fucking turkey in his hand. And or over his shoulder. I'm like, well, what the hell happened? He's like, yeah, I walked up the field. They were at the other end of the field. So I got behind this thing. I got small, and they saw it, and he came right towards me. So I just stuck the gun out from behind the decoy, little 410, got on it one-handed and blasted him right in the face at like 3 yards.
It's so much fun.
They came sprinting at me.
They almost take flight. They're going so fast.
Oh, they were so pissed off.
God, I think I've probably shot, 10 birds, fanning them in.
Oh,
I just use a tail fan.
Yeah.
And I have a video. I was in Oregon a few years back, and afternoon, and we pulled up to this field, and there was literally 13 redheads in the corner of the field. And it was knee-high, thigh-high wheat. And so I was like, all right, here we go. Start crawling across. He goes, and I hear him, he goes, "They're coming." And Caleb Copeland filmed this. Yeah. And it was 12 Jakes and one Longbeard.
Oh, gosh.
And they got to within 5 feet of me.
Yeah.
And you could hear him going, "Why is he not shooting?" And I go, "I can't tell which one's the gobbler." And so I jump up, and you can't see any chest. You just see their heads.
Yeah.
It is one of the most fun things in the world to do. Like when they see it, and they don't just kind of work their way over. No, they come.
No. Yeah, they're either running away or they're sprinting at you.
Yeah, they are coming. It's so much fun. It's called reaping.
Drew an elk tag this year for Montana. So
okay.
I'm excited about that. Gonna head up there
mid-September.
Yeah, mid-September, and then probably go back later on in the year for a mule deer. I've yet
at Jay's place.
Yep, I've yet to kill an elk or a mule deer, so I'm excited.
You have
for
muleys
that.
on your place?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we started. My neighbors started running dogs for cats, and it's really helped out the population.
Oh, I bet. There. Yeah, for sure. Because I think they eat a deer a week.
Oh, it's
something like that.
It's something crazy.
Yeah. And they and also black bears.
Yep, and
put a huge dent in there.
And we started killing some black bears too. So I think that's definitely helped out our population of
Do you have any big deer in Kentucky?
Yeah. You want to kill one?
We've got on our place in Georgia. We have an absolute monster. I'm talking. Now, keep in mind, this is in Kentucky.
Yep.
This is so. My buddy Jeremy Starks, who you've spoken to, the wildlife biologist guy, he's like, that's every bit of 165. It is a giant. And here's the best part. I think he's 4.5.
Jeez.
So he's gonna get to walk for 2 years.
Can you let him go for another year?
Absolutely.
You let him go to 6?
At least another year.
Yeah.
At least another year. And then we've got this piebald deer.
Yeah.
that just little.
Is that slim?
Dude, that rat, it looks like a mule deer rat.
I've been saying it all
He
summer.
looks like a damn high fence deer.
Well, we had a deer about 4 years ago that we called muley because he did look like a mule deer, and I think that he's in this kind of same. I think that's one of his sons.
So he's at least 5.5.
Yeah,
So you tell that, right? Because he's got that kicker. Anytime they have a kicker on their main beam, deer whitetails don't get kickers on main beams until they're 5.5. They don't show up till that age. That's an absolute monster.
I think he's going to be in the 180s.
You talking about this kicker right here?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find this thing.
Yeah, Jay's farm manager. Yesterday we were in here doing a podcast and gave me a call. Another buck showed up, and that there's a lot of killing that needs to happen up there this year for game management for sure. And then
we're gonna try to let him go.
I'm also gonna try to get a bear in Montana. Well, sometime this year.
He's only I think he's 4.5.
And
he's gonna be. We're gonna try to get him. We're gonna try to let him go through this year.
That G3 on his.
That's a different deer.
Yeah, no, that's a monster.
Yeah. But you might get a. I mean, you
Here you go.
potentially could get a mule deer. It's in September.
That's a Georgia deer.
he's clean.
So I'm gonna scout for you.
Yeah.
For mule deer and bear.
Yeah, I would love that.
That's a Georgia buck.
It's a big deer.
Yeah, perfect too.
Oh, he's pretty.
I mean, if I can get elk and a mule deer in 1 week with a bow, that would.
I am not.
That'd be insane.
I mean, the mule deer are the dumbest animals ever out there.
Perfect.
They will.
You see
They
them,
bound
and they bound and,
and
they
then
stop
they stop.
and look at you. They're like
Broadside.
yeah, you still
Broadside.
here? Yep, still here.
The fuck is that? Yeah, it just.
They're the dumbest animals
I
ever.
shot my biggest mule deer, 180-ish, in La Mesa, Texas. With one of the Blancvis's friends.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, man. He's like, do you deer hunt? I was like, absolutely. He's like, yeah, we just got like 9,000 acres for fracking sand. And I was like, what is frack? This is 6 years ago. What is fracking? And he explained the process. He's like, yeah, it's the perfect sand for it. It's perfectly round. And I was like, what is this guy talking about? So I meet him out there. He drives me around the place. He goes, all right, man, I got to go into town for my daughter's birthday party. It's all yours. And I was like, you just handing over 9,000 acres. He's like, yeah, do whatever you want. So I remember the first thing I did was pick up a handful of sand. I was like, my God, this sand is perfect. This is brown and nice.
This is perfect sand.
But I took Melissa with me, and like I driving down this road looking at all this property. I was like, oh my God. And we're in the truck, windows are up. I go, don't say a fucking word. We're in a truck, mind you. Grab my rifle, jump out of the truck, run 20 feet back, jump over this ditch. I thought the buck was bedded, but he was standing in a dip, and he starts bounding away. And this is my greatest shot ever. I shot him running at 65 yards, and just with the 30-06 and dropped him. And I jumped back across the ditch, run and jumped in the truck, and Melissa goes, that's the fucking sexiest thing I've ever seen in my entire fucking life, and drove backwards 100 yards. She goes, what are you doing? I said, I have no idea. Put the truck back in gear, went back forward. But yeah, that was a stick. Mule deer, that's one of my favorite deer. But
Did you lay a blanket on that perfect sand?
God, it was so great. It was so great. And then, so I am not, this is the first year in 9 years I'm not elk hunting. I don't have any more room for them.
I've never even shot one.
I got a bunch. Yeah. I've got a storage unit, and I was like, this is absurd. Like, I can't. So I'm going after a big whitetail in Texas, and then my buddy Jordan Griffin has farms in northern Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio, all within like an hour. That little triangle.
Some big deer over there.
He's got some hammers, dude.
Yeah.
Hammer bucks. And then I've got a mule deer hunt with John. I'm talking to him about doing one in the Davis Mountains.
Okay, cool.
So pretty excited about that. But yeah, I think this year I'm just chasing whitetail, man. Yeah. That's all I'm gonna do. And then also the election and stuff. Like, I'm gonna be so busy, I'm not gonna have a ton of time to do stuff.
I'm gonna go to Idaho and try to get a color phase spring bear next year.
Yeah,
that's on my bucket list. So
we.
I've
killed one bear.
Yeah.
And it was a 400-pound, Southern Colorado. So the day before, I shot a 381-inch elk at the Hill Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, hey, man, we have a ton of bears. Because every day we saw like 5 bears. He's like, we have a ton of bears here. And if you'll just buy a tag, I won't charge you a kill fee. And I was like, why would I not do that?
Yeah.
And I shot a 405-pound black bear, full color phase, no rubs, nothing.
That's beautiful.
Absolutely
What color?
flawless. Brown, looked like a little grizzly.
That's amazing.
Unbelievable.
That's a big
Shot
bear.
him 6 times.
Really?
No kidding.
Killed him with the last bullet
Really?
at dark
He took 6.
with a 300 Win Mag.
You're right.
So
that
the thing
one
with me-
shot was your best shot.
He finally rolled down the hill. So
They're tough. They're tough as
the
shit.
thing with this, I always shoot high shoulder
Really?
or right behind it. On bears, all the vitals are way far forward.
Yeah,
it's just
it's-
unnatural for me, man. Like
yeah,
to
it's
shoot
middle,
that far
middle
forward.
of the middle.
Yeah.
Is what they say basically.
But I rolled him twice. And dude, he was a monster. So we go down to this dry creek bed. It's 8 feet wide and sheer rock cliff on each side, like just sheer cliff. And so we're going up this because that's where the last place we saw him was run into that creek bed. Shot him, he came down, shot him again, rolled him, shot him again, and he goes into the creek bed. We're tracking up this creek bed where we think he is. And we get about 100 yards, and all of a sudden it's like, there's blood right here. So we turn around, we start walking back. And where we entered that canyon is where he was sitting.
No shit.
And if that bear had chose fight over flight,
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd be sitting here. He watched us come down that canyon. And so we got back. He's like, oh, there he is. I shot him in the ass. That was my 4th shot.
Yeah.
And then finished him on my last bullet. And it was awesome.
I shot my bear from about me to you this year.
Oh, really?
We Samantha was with me, and I was trying to get her on one. And very first day, what gun did I have? Oh, my 300 Norma, and we were about 800 out, and spotted them on that hill. Close distance, we got probably 450, 420, and I mean, she was 2 shots this high.
Really?
Yeah, and I thought she might have hit him because he was running kind of weird. No blood, gone, and then we hunted for the rest of the week and didn't see a bear. And the last afternoon, we were kind of worn out. I was like, "Do you want to go?" She's like, "No, let's just cook and hang out,
yeah.
have some drinks on the patio." And she was in the shower, and I went out the back, and the mountains are behind us, and out front is like just sage, and it gets really flat. But there's some water tanks for the cows out there, and I mean, the driveway kind of comes up, pulls in, and he's just walking down the driveway right in front of the house.
Really?
Yeah, just cruising.
And she shot her or you did?
I yelled at her. I go, "There's a bear. Let's go." She's like, "Fuck off."
Didn't move fast enough.
And I was like, I was in my sandals, t-shirt, shorts, and I go, "I'm gonna shoot."
the killing uniform.
Yeah. I go, "I'm gonna shoot him." She's like, "Go. I don't care. There's not a bear." Grab the gun, and he kind of went up in these. There's probably like these pines up here, kind of above this hill, and he was walking down the fence line, and I was like, "All right." So I chased after him. Wind was in my direction. Chased after him. And I was like, where the hell did he go? Did he keep on the fence line? Did he go in the pines? And I'm looking around, and I don't like bears in general. And I'm a little bit weary because I'm like, where the fuck did I go past him? Where's he at? I look around a tree. I mean, he's from me to you. I was like, okay. He kind of turned a little bit. Boom, dropped him.
That was it.
Yeah, go. Game over.
How many bears do you have?
That's only my second.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, the bears don't do it for me.
I've killed 4, 3 or 4.
I don't. Yeah.
3. I've killed 3.
I just do it literally just to help out the elk and mule deer.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love
You
bear
should
hunting.
absolutely hammer them.
Oh yeah.
You should kill as many as you possibly can.
I tell everyone, like, it's in Montana. It's like $300 for a tag. You can get it just anytime you want. You see a bear, shoot it. I don't care. Just kill them.
That's how we are with pigs at our place. If I see a pig, if I see a
you
pig's
have to
ass,
shoot it.
if I see a pig's ass, I'm shooting its ass.
yeah.
Shoot it in the ear, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm just shooting it wherever
Yeah.
I can. Preferably in the gut so it runs off in the swamp. You know, I don't have to deal with it. But it's a pig, man. I hate them. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited about this season. I want a big whitetail. That's my goal. I got a big elk. I'm ready for a big whitetail.
There you go.
Yes, I will come up to Kentucky if you have.
Oh, love for you to come up.
If you've got an extra deer.
We got a lot of deer. They keep popping up.
Well, that's how. So for us on our properties, we just got a new place in Plains, Georgia, where Jimmy Carter's from, ironically, and like early season, dude, like our buck to doe ratio is flawless on camera. I mean, it's 1-to-1, and then the moment season starts, they're like, hey, let's get the fuck out of here, and they wander off. I don't know where they go, but we've got a piebald deer that we let just a little shithorn. And dude, he's 140, and it's like, whoa, he's gonna try to be something. His whole stomach is white, and it comes up on his ribs and near his back and stuff. Super cool buck.
Are you guys gonna try to let him go another year?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
yeah. We
let him breed a little bit, see if we can get some more.
We try to. My thing is manage to age. So if you don't hunt inches, you hunt age.
Yeah, that's what
let
we
him
are.
get six and a half, however you describe it. That's where the magic happens. Because every whitetail deer on the planet has the potential to be 140 inches.
Without a doubt.
And if you see a buck and like, oh, you don't know what they're going to look like the following year.
No.
Like you literally have no idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Same program. Like we found like 6 is kind of the magic number. Like we have had some 7-year-olds that kind of keep blowing up, but like that 5 to 6 is.
That's the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I heard they grow about potential to grow 30 inches that year.
There's always going to be a big spike somewhere, either 4 to 5 or 5 to 6 is going to be 20 to 30 inches. Like Slim he probably put on 30.
Yeah, and there's also a dip here too.
Yep.
So like you'll see a dip maybe at 4, maybe at 5. And then like the 200-inch deer, like everyone's gunning for, like that's the LeBron James. Like those are once in a generation. Like you just don't see that very often. So like that big thing what's his name?
Slim.
Yeah, that's world class, man. Like that's.
How big do you think he is?
I'm not good at judging deer in velvet.
Yeah.
But I would say he's every bit of 180 inches. Hold on, let me take that back. So the guy that I know that knows more about whitetail than anyone on this planet is Jeremy Starks. He said that deer is 160, 165, the one I showed you on our place. That buck on your place, just with his kickers, that's 10 inches of kicker there. So, I mean, he's a mainframe, he's 165, I would say, but like with all the extra stuff he's got, he's 185.
Well, to put it in perspective, Slim or Rebel, the deer I killed 2 years ago, he was 164, and Slim is You could put Rebel's rack inside of Slim's.
Yeah, he's every bit of 185.
Yeah, I think he's in the 80s.
I can't wait to see him on the ground after you stick him.
I'm gonna go up in the next probably 10 days. And
when's the season open?
It's 1st of September 6th,
6th,
7th,
I believe.
something like that. 7th, whatever that Saturday is.
Okay. Are you going to Midland for the dove shoot?
When is it?
The shoot is Sunday, September 1st.
I'm going to try to.
Okay. So arrive Friday. The dove ball is Saturday night.
Okay.
The dove shoot is Sunday, and Monday morning, then fly home.
Yeah.
September 1st?
Yeah. Labor Day weekend.
Gotcha.
That's the best dove shoot outside of South and Central America. It is.
You want to go?
Yeah, okay.
Dude, it is so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a lot of fun.
It's a ton of fun.
Well, buddy, I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yes, sir.
I enjoyed it.
Where are you heading now?
So have a meeting with Sean Ryan today at 4:30, and then going tomorrow down
Is
to
his
Knoxville.
podcast doing well?
Oh God,
He kills it, right?
oh Jesus!
I see him around town from time to time.
I see him everywhere. I feel
His pot, he's in the millions and millions of views per episode. He kills it. Like he's a machine. The guy that's actually shocking how big it is Andy Frisella, the guy that owns First Form. He does 20 million downloads a month.
No shit.
Yeah. Cool son of a bitch.
Nice.
Real good guy. But and then tomorrow we're driving to Knoxville tonight for a meeting with Gun Owners of America, their CEO, and number 2 tomorrow, and then I fly home Friday morning.
I just bought another gun today.
What'd you get?
Stupid. I went because I moved, and I was going through like all my ammo because I had like a one of those big steel cabinet things, and I was going through it all, just kind of seeing like what I had, and I have like a ton, I don't know why, of 300 short. Don't even have a 300 short. No idea why I have.
I have bought a gun because I had ammo before too.
I have like 400 rounds of 300 short. I was like, why do I have all this shit? Don't even have a 300 short.
I've got some ammo.
And I might be the cause of that.
Could be.
I've got some ammo.
So I bought a 300 short today.
I've got some ammo for guns that I've never even physically made contact with.
Yeah.
Like I was like, what? I don't even know what this caliber is.
Yeah.
You know.
I found some 264 Winchester. I was like, what? Who? I didn't even know this was around.
260 is a good gun though. I took one of those to Africa.
Is that the 260
Ackerman? 280. I think it's a 280 Ackerman.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what any of that means, but it's 280 Ackerman is a caliber.
I don't have a clue.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, that's it. And then get home, and then I'm probably gonna go to the farm this weekend and look for arrowheads. And then Melissa's got surgery on the 20th, and then the election starts after Labor Day, man. That's when everything fires up. So
You want to get an Airbnb like we did last year
yeah.
For Midland?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah, dude, Jay, it is.
Yeah.
It's the
Midland,
most.
Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the most fun dove shoot.
Where do you fly into?
Midland.
Huh.
It's
Is it
the most
connection
fun
or-
dove shoot ever.
Yeah, I forget. I think I went into
Dallas.
possibly. Yeah.
Yeah. It is absolutely worth it. And then fly out Monday at like noon.
Yeah.
So you can hunt Monday morning and then get to the airport.
Cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Right on. Well,
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on, Baker.
Yep.
Appreciate
Anytime.
you.
Anytime.
VoteForAmerica.org. Check it out. Get some confidence and go vote.
Register.